Very few things in life can make me as happy as a great Pokemon game, and Sword and Shield repeatedly left me in a state of pure, childlike joy. Creating moments of elated surprise is something the series does extremely well, and that's alive and kicking here. The first mainline Pokemon games on the Switch are fantastic RPGs in their own right, bursting with the same nostalgic charm, but it doesn't fall victim to getting stuck in the past. It streamlines and fixes many of the series' long-running problems, from excessive tutorials to the tedium of navigating random encounters. Simply put, Sword and Shield are the best Pokemon games I have ever played, and I've played them all. Sword and Shield have a pretty traditional setup. You pick one of 3 starter Pokemon and then head off across the Galar region to capture and train more of them, defeat 8 unique and exciting gym challenges, and become a Pokemon Master over the course of about 40 hours. Galar is a setting inspired by the UK, with characters that are unique and fun to battle, though they don't all offer the same level of challenge. The turn-based combat benefits from the crazy variety of these elemental Pokemon, from their vastly different appearances to moves they learn to their inherent stats. It's just as wholesome and accessible as ever during the campaign, but hidden stat mechanics and a secret endgame of breeding and battling perfect Pokemon give those of us who want to get hardcore nearly limitless depth to explore. That's a difficult balancing act Pokemon has been largely great at handling. All of this is the same old song and dance we've seen for the past 23 years, but Sword and Shield roll out some immediate, noticeable changes that make the whole thing just better. It starts with basic stuff. You can finally skip tutorials if you know what's up. And you can even start catching Pokemon before being taught how. Moving around is easier than ever too. I thought I'd miss Sun and Moon's rideable Pokemon, but Sword and Shield's automatic Land-to-Sea Rotom Bike and Corviknight Taxi fast travel service are just so seamless and easy that it more than makes up for it. There's barely even a load screen to slow you down. But my favorite tweak is that the traditional random encounters are gone. They're replaced by Pokemon who inhabit the overworld just like they do in Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee, which is something I've wanted for a decade. There are occasional exclamation points in the grass which yield a randomized encounter with a potentially rare Pokemon, but being able to avoid pointless fights made getting through areas and exploring significantly less annoying and more fun and rewarding. Plus, there are very few repeat appearances throughout Galar, so the native life changes just as much as the scenery does, if not more. Overall, Pokemon Sword and Shield are front-loaded with oodles of exciting Pokemon options to choose from, even within the first 2 hours. I was already having a hard time choosing my team by the time I got to the first gym. This is usually never a problem for me, but it's one I'm happy to have. A big reason for all of this early choice is that you can almost immediately visit the awesome new wild area. It's not the prettiest area in Sword and Shield, but each of this large open map's microregions has a climate that changes daily, along with the Pokemon that inhabit them. Berry trees and useful items randomly spawn, and there are even NPCs with cycling goodies to sell. Along with the bountiful harvest of Pokemon, the biggest attraction are the new Max Raid battles, where 4 trainers face off against one giant Dynamax Pokemon with potentially better stats and hidden abilities. Once a battle in these raids, in stadiums, and against other players, you can Dynamax or Gigantamax a Pokemon. This makes your Pokemon an absolute unit with better HP, stats, and super powerful max moves for 3 turns, adding an extra layer of strategy, especially when up against real people. Max Raid battles were neat little optional detours to my adventure, and I always looked forward to seeing what new battles awaited me each time I visited, and what kind of useful consumables I'd earn as a reward. Some of them even offer a genuine challenge, and that required me to think of specific strategies and to seek out nearby friends for help, as you can't really rely on the inconsistent NPC helpers against more difficult raids. You'll be able to join players online too, but we were only able to test out local play ahead of release. All of this dynamic change made me want to revisit the wild area often with each new day and every new gym badge I earned so I could catch stronger Pokemon. Because of that, I seamlessly leveled up my team to appropriate levels on accident, which eliminated the need to grind. But I also never accidentally over-leveled my team either, so Sword and Shield felt like a really well-balanced experience. Even if you do find yourself under-leveled, the fairly common XP candy consumables grant, you guessed it, experience points to the Pokemon they're fed to. That gave me the immediate satisfaction of being able to try out a new Pokemon right now and allowed more flexible experimentation with new teams. These may not be the best looking games on the Switch, but Sword and Shield look good and run well, and without the frame rate slowdowns that are common in other Pokemon games. There are some highlights, including new unique attack animations, but that said, animations for older moves can still be stiff and plain. On a whole, it's a huge improvement over the low bar set by the 3DS games. Graphics have never been as important to me as good gameplay and charm, and those are things Sword and Shield have plenty of. Beyond that, there are countless little touches that, as a longtime Pokemon player, I wholeheartedly appreciate. Tiny things like my team being healed automatically after each gym battle so I could seamlessly continue the story, being able to switch Pokemon out of the box mid-route, and being able to connect so seamlessly with others using the Y-comm make a big difference when you add it all up. Some of these changes could be seen as making Pokemon easier, but in practice, Sword and Shield are on par with previous games' difficulty. What's been removed is just the monotony. Pokemon Sword and Pokemon Shield are closer to my dream Pokemon RPGs than anything that's come before it. I'd still like better cutscenes, companion Pokemon, the complete Pokedex, and a more visually interesting wild area, but nitpicks are just not very effective when everything else was such a complete joy to play. The way they respect my time is a wonderful feeling, and the removal of monotony from random encounters and other odds and ends distills it down to only the pure and charming fun of capturing, training, and battling wonderful creatures. And hey, if I'm missing any tedious repetition, I can always get back into breeding. For my full thoughts, including why I think the lack of a complete national Pokedex is disappointing but not a deal breaker, make sure to read the entire review at IGN.com. And for everything else Pokemon and more, keep it here at IGN.